that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you ladies today?
Great. Thanks.
Doing good.
I'm so glad to have you all here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Today, everyone, we're going to be talking about her unbreakable spirit and how these women harness their lives to continue to rise again, no matter what the odds, no matter what the circumstances or situation. So as you all grab your virtual seats today, go ahead and share the broadcast and let people know that the Kim Jacobs Show, how we're balancing our lives and overcoming obstacles and circumstances to become who we are today. We have these authors with us to share their journey. Dr. Paulette, it's always a pleasure to have you in the house here on the show.
Hello, Kim. Thank you so much. It is always a pleasure to be here. Thank you for always having this platform and providing this opportunity for us to come on and share.
Now, for you, if I'm not mistaken, it's like now 14 books, right?
Well, this is actually number 10 anthology, and then I have just a few of my own solo books.
You make it so, she's so modest, everyone. Okay, so this woman is like a powerhouse when it comes to teaching people how to actually use your own voice and the pen power and stuff to be able to officially share your stories with the rest of the world. So I'm so honored that you're here today, Dr. Paulette. And each of you, can you all just like unmute yourself and say your name and maybe where you're from, just something about yourself as we get ready to kick off today's episode. Let's start with you, Zenja.
Hi, I'm Zenja Key Stallworth. I am a mother of 3 adult children, military veteran, mentor, and now an author.
We're going to talk about that a lot more today in this episode. And let's go with you, Keisha.
Hello, my name is Keisha Simmons, originally from Chicago, Illinois, live in the DFW area now, married for 28 years, have 3 beautiful girls, and I just love to increase the kingdom and help encourage other people. And I realized this book helped me to kind of highlight that God uses us for a purpose. And my purpose is to help other people overcome.
That's so good. So good. And how about you, Wanda Johnson over there?
Hi, good morning. My name is Wanda Johnson. I am just happy to be on the show today. I am definitely a mother, a grandmother. I'm grateful to be able to have written this book because it will help you forgive others and forgive yourself, because we can't move forward unless we forgive ourselves first. So again, I'm grateful to be a part of this great discussion on today.
Wow. Thank you so much for being here, Wanda. And I agree. I can't wait for us to talk more about that particular part, forgiving ourselves, and why that's going to be important. And Dr. Paulette, Dr. Harper, when you think about different people, I know there are a lot of people that want to be in your anthologies because you're so well organized, and that's such a blessing. If people are working with you, they're going to get a wonderful experience. So what makes you be able to decide who you even are going to allow to be in your anthologies?
Well, actually, Kim, I do an author call, and I present it to, people that come on the call with me, a Zoom meeting, and share with them about the vision, what I'm, the kind of stories that I'm looking for. And, if their story resonates, then it's really, that's simple. And if they really want to be committed to the process, it's about a 4-month process. And so if they're in it for the long haul and they're committed to, writing the story and being coached and doing the work, then it's a yes for me. I've only probably had maybe a couple people whose storyline didn't, resonate with the synopsis of the book. And, but, if you have a good storyline, it lines up with the synopsis, then, it's a go.
To go. So I love that even more because that speaks volumes to the fact that it doesn't sound like you necessarily have respecter of persons. You just
Yeah.
are open to whoever God puts in your path that allows them the opportunity to want to share their story, and you're giving them the equal opportunity is what I'm kind of hearing.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Yeah, I don't really, that's one of the reasons why I do the Zoom call, because it's a way for me to vet people and to kind of see where they are, and if they fit with the vision, and then too, if they want to work with me, and they may find, okay, well, this isn't the story that I want to write, because sometimes we don't want to write those stories that take us back to that moment of pain and transformation. Transition, but it's an easy process. It really is. It's just hop on a call with me, and I share with you what the vision is, and you decide really if this is something that you want to to share with the world.
Yeah. Okay. And I know I'm asking this generic question, and anybody can answer these. Feel free to unmute yourself before we go into formal bios and everything like that. But I'm wondering why. And I know I can speak personally. It is very difficult to share some of the deeper, darker parts of yourself with people. And especially because your story is your story, but their story is their story. So I know I'm mindful of trying to share bits and pieces of my story that I think could impact somebody else in an interesting way. So I'm always thinking about other people. I'm like, well, if I say this, then people are going to think this about that person. And so I'm always doing that. Did any of you all feel that way when you're writing your stories? Just anybody?
I was a little nervous about how my family might take some of the information, particularly my parents. But it's my story, so.
Interesting. Good to know. Anybody else have any feedback on that?
I think I had a lot going on with my story, so I had to kind of figure out which pieces would be the best to kind of encourage and help, because you only had a certain amount of words, a chapter, to kind of wrap it all up in one. But I think everyone's story is going to be impactful to help others.
That's good, insightful words of wisdom with your family, Zenja. That's the number one concern, because you never want to put something out there that hurts anybody in your family. But then you have your own personal journey, and then the limit of the words, Keisha. Now you don't wrapped it all up in a nutshell. You're like, you have this many words, right? And you have to really. I've written chapters in anthologies, best-selling books as well. And I'm like, what? I look at my word count. I'm like, girl, you need to cut this in half.
That was my struggle.
Yeah, that's my struggle for sure. Juan, do you have any feedback, or Dr. Paulette?
It wasn't too hard to write because everything that I included, I'm sure that many of the people, or most of the people, would agree with what I've written. What gets hard is writing from my perspective versus the other person who I'm speaking, who I have included in it.
Right.
They're writing from their, what they would feel and what their perspective is.
That's good. Yeah. So it's so many different varying angles and directions. That's the beautiful part of it becoming a whole book. And now you like, this is what I need, and I can glean from that. And let me flip to this page. And so it's not even, when I read anthologies, I don't necessarily even read them from the beginning to the end. I just go to some of the chapters that I feel speak to me in some regards. Then I go back and read the whole thing. That's kind of like the Bible for me. That's what I do. I read the Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and then I go, oh, what? Let me go back to Genesis. And so that's what it reminds me of. Dr. Paulette, any input?
Yeah, I think this process for each of them, they're all first-time authors. So I want to highlight that. I want to highlight that. I probably work with about 98% first-time authors. So I can really understand the fear, the hesitation. And so, when you're thinking about writing one chapter, I know that that's that could be a struggle for people because we have a lot to say,
Right.
we have a lot to say. But when you can see that, you can really write a chapter and just give them the meat of the chapter, and you can do that, and so people do it in many different ways. And so they've learned how to, even before this, they learned how to, just really capture the essence of their story. So it gives the people exactly what they need, but they're also being truthful and telling their own story in 1,500 words. And so, with that, we want to whet people's appetite. These are like teasers for some people, because once they read a chapter, their chapter, people are going to want to know, okay, what else?
Right. What else does this woman have?
Something else, So for a lot of us, our stories are really like lead magnets to other things that we're able to do and capable of doing, products and other services that we may have, and even, a solo book.
Do you all see yourselves writing a solo book after this experience? Everybody like, huh? Wait a minute. We're going to stick with Dr. Paulette. Anybody foresee themselves writing a book after this?
Yes, I do, definitely.
Yeah. I'm
and
actually
that inspiration comes right from you, Dr. Where am I pointing? Yeah, over there. From you, Dr. Paulette. All right. Listen, I see you all in the virtual studio audience that's here, and I thank you all that are listening on all of your audio devices as well. I see Erica says congratulations to you all, and so glad. She says so glad to see you all. So glad to see you, Erica. Christina is on, and she said she's one of your tribe members. Good morning, beautiful women. Y'all share it over with all of the Dr. Paulette Harper tribe over there. Let them know that the show is on. Vanita said good morning to you ladies as well. And let's see. Keep your comments, all of your comments flowing. Good morning and happy day to you beautiful ladies. I don't want to timestamp everything. So happy day to all of you beautiful, beautiful ladies. All right, CTR Media Network, where we stream to 100 countries and 350 million households. They're on as well. Thank you for being a part of today's broadcast. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to hear some more from the visionary herself, which is none other than Dr. Paulette Harper. We'll be right back.
I'm attorney Charles Everidge. I started out representing insurance companies until my father was seriously injured at work. 4 of his fingers were amputated. Our family went through a lot, so I know what you're going through as an injured worker. If you've been hurt on the job, call me now. I'll fight to get the workers' comp benefits you may deserve. I'll fight for you like family. Put my experience to work for you. Call 704-457-5000, the first call for injured workers.
All right, everyone. We are back here on the Kim Jacobs Show, and we want to take a moment to hear from Dr. Paulette Harper and more about her and what her work consists of. She's a renowned figure in the literary world and has achieved remarkable success as a 13-time best-selling, 2-time award-winning author, certified self-publishing coach, business coach, and mental coach. She is determined basically to help emerging leaders learn how to tap into their creativity and to turn their stories into something that they can accomplish, for their dreams to become published work. And I'm going to talk more about some of her roles as a talk show host and different things. But I'm so glad to have you here, Dr. Paulette Harper.
Thank you, Kim. I'm glad to be here as well. It's always a pleasure.
You're such a joy. Listen, I wanted to find out from you today. Every time I've talked to you, you have such a strong passion for helping people become best-selling authors, not just regular authors, but best-selling. And I really wanted to understand, where did that passion come from for you?
Yeah, great question. So I actually started writing when I was going through my own personal pain from divorce. And so after I got through that, just really led by the Lord to, share my story. And I started writing that first book way back when. And and so when people saw that I knew how to, write a book, they kept approaching me about showing them how to do it. And that's really how, this part of my life, this journey started. It was really other people pulling on my knowledge, pulling on the creativity within me. Because, for me, I just wanted to write a book, just being obedient to God, and not really realizing that there was something more that God wanted me to do with it. And it was other people that was asking me to show them how to do it. And so it went from a workshop to one-on-one coaching. And so the business just kept evolving and to where it is right now. And so it really came out of, my own personal experience with going through that divorce and sharing my own story. And then I realized that when I shared my own story, there was other women who wanted to write their own stories, but they just didn't know how. And so I was their solution. And so just guiding them on that whole process of structure, outlining, how to, really create, and develop their storyline all the way to, publishing it as well.
Wow. Okay. That's insightful. So it was your own personal pain, your own personal journey that inspired you to help others because people were reaching out. That's very inspiring. Okay. Then the other thing I wanted to find out is you have your a doctorate degree. You also are a pastor. You're also the host of, and I want to make sure you tell people the exact, I know it's Now Faith Is TV, but I want to make sure that I'm saying that right. It's on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon, and many more platforms. And you personally are helping all of these personalities. When you're dealing with personalities of adult women and men to become a part of your anthology, how are you balancing all of these different roles and responsibilities?
Yeah. So, and you're correct. My show is called Now Faith Is TV, where faith, books, and business collide. And so, when you think about personalities, because everybody has a different personality, and I try to. One of the things that I do is I do a one-on-one coaching session with the authors. I present that to them so that I can get a feel of their story, I can get a feel of their personality, and I can kind of get a feel of how I can show them and help them, improve their story. And so, just kind of filling them out. And then, of course, they don't know me as well. So they interviewing me and I'm interviewing them, but I've just learned over time to just really try to, reach people right where they are, and be sympathetic and have my, operate in, emotional intelligence to see where exactly people are and how I can take them from right where they are to the end result. And so it's a lot about just really getting a feel of each of the authors and I can kind of tell, after we get into the group, we, get our chapter done, kind of where people are. Yeah. I know some people are more shy than others. I know some people are more energetic. So I can feel that energy, in the groups and then talking to them. And I just kind of feed on that as well.
That's a gift is what that is. So I'm glad to hear how you maneuver all of this and you consider the personalities and what their anxieties may be, not putting them in. It's a lot of factors, it sounds like, as you're spearheading this project. So I'm really grateful. How can people stay connected with you? I have more questions for you, but I'm going to kind of infuse you into some of the other aspects of the show. But how can people stay connected with you, Dr. Paulette?
Yeah, so people can connect with me on my website, which is www.pauletteharper.com. I am on Facebook as Dr. Paulette Harper, also known as Pastor P.
Pastor P!
Also on Twitter and IG, and then also on Clubhouse, Paulette Harper.
All right. Listen, you all stay connected with Dr. Paulette Harper, which is going to be a blessing to you to do so. So make sure you make that happen. And any questions that you have for Dr. Paulette throughout the broadcast, I'll come back and check on them and pull her back up to answer them. This is a wonderful opportunity, everyone, when you are getting before greatness like this and women that have experienced some challenges and difficulties in their own lives and they're willing to be transparent and open up to us. Don't miss the opportunity to ask your questions. Let me actually put this link too. I'll put this link Now, the audio podcast listeners, you're not going to be able to hop on a link right now. But anybody else, if you want to use this and come on and ask your question directly, you can copy and paste this link that's here into your browser, and it'll bring you right into the show. You have to show your camera, though, so just get your mind right. If you don't show your camera, I'm not that host. I ain't doing it. All right. So what we're going to do is take a moment to get ready to hear from you, Keisha, if you don't mind. How are you today?
I am well. How about you?
I'm doing absolutely great. And I'm so glad to have you here today as well. And all of you first-time authors. How does it, before I even introduce you formally, how does it feel to be a first-time author?
It's exciting, but also scary, but it's awesome. That's all I'm gonna say. It's awesome because I was writing another book and I had to just stop because I couldn't finish. So I decided to jump in on this project to kind of see where I'm going. So now I'm ready to complete the book that I started first. So this has been a blessing.
So this, now that, you know, that's interesting that you said that. Let me introduce you first. Wait a minute, Lord have mercy. Another over here. Okay, Keisha Simmons, everybody. She is a debut author and a dynamic force poised to inspire and uplift. Her transformative journey has led her to contribute to this particular anthology, her Unbreakable Spirit, harnessing the power to rise again, which means that some falls have had to happen, okay? And Keisha's professional path has a tapestry of diverse roles, including a teacher, accounting analyst, senior mortgage underwriter, HR generalist, and the adept management of a prayer ministry consulting venture. She has her degree, her BA in business marketing and business, and an MA in human services resources. So I am going to say welcome, Keisha, to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Welcome.
I'm glad you're here. Listen, whenever we think about you, I think about the many roles that you have, ranging from the teaching. That means you've been dealing with students and individuals. Then you went all the way to mortgage underwriting, to mom, to wife. You have a lot of different hats. Now, author. How do you manage these roles and still kind of keep yourself together?
So I left off that I also was in ministry. I worked at a church.
Okay. Oh, girl, that right there is a whole full-time job in itself.
And I had to manage the leadership, manage everybody who volunteered. I was like the church administrator. So I had so many hats. And so with all that being said, this book and just this one chapter kind of summed it up, because I went into it with God, like, why do I feel like I'm always enduring, or why is it so many challenges? Right. And God kind of broke it down, like, people are watching you. And I've had like 5 people in the last month to tell me, girl, you would never know the things that you endure. You would never know the things that you come out of, but you always have a spirit where you're praising the Lord and you're always encouraging and praying for other people and you're giving. So my chapter is called You Were Created with Purpose. And so many times you get caught up on, it's me. The things we endure is not for us. It's for us to overcome and to highlight the goodness of God. God will bring you out, but you have to keep that positive mindset. And the longer you stay in a place is because the longer you kind of grab it in your mind, like, it's, oh, woe is me, but it's not woe is me. It's how can I help somebody else? So everything we endure is an opportunity to help somebody else. And I kind of say I'm the jack of all trade. I've done it all. If you say it, I've done it. And so I thank God. I have to thank him daily that he's able to use me and I'm able to be flexible. No, it doesn't feel good, but I'm grateful to be used by God. And I'm grateful that I can help people to sometimes go through some stuff that I went through. I always tell people, hey, you don't want this. So depressing is something, but when you just say, hey, you know, I worked some jobs. I worked one job, it's not even on there, where I worked with felons. And I was like, God, why do you have me here? What have I done? Kind of like, why have you forsaken me? But purpose, I was able to highlight the goodness of God. I was able to have some conversations with people who were in a tough place in life and encourage them. So I think once you take the role of who God created you to be, what your purpose is, then you can move forward. So I take every job that I do as an assignment for God, for me to help somebody. So it's not about Keisha. It's about what God says and what God wants me to do. hopefully that gives you some insight to me.
That gives me great insight into Keisha Simmons, and it gives everyone in the studio audience insight. So with you having that strong passion for prayer and writing and fostering spiritual and mental growth, walk us through what that, you already gave us insight, but what does that journey look like, especially for somebody that they're trying their best to figure it out, but they don't even know how to take the first step. And it sounds like you've already taken steps and you're like, girl, this is it's not about me, Keisha. It's about what God has purpose for me to do, type of thing. Go ahead.
So for me, one thing I'm transitioning into is a coach, because I'm big on energy, positivity. And so like you have to have a schedule and plan for your life daily.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't wake up and say, hey, I'm here. No, it takes you getting up, meditating, praying, seeking God's face. First thing you should do before I even wake up is I say, God, thank you. God, thank you for this day. And then I offer my body as a living sacrifice. Then I move forward into, who do you want me to talk to today? Having that relationship. So that meditation is key. A lot of people are not into this, but I'm into praying in tongues. It helps me to ward off spirits, but also gives me inner strength. So like planning, most people I talk to that I'm consulting with, or they call me, I have so many titles, but I've done so many different things. I always tell people your peace is everything. Yep. And so if you plan your day, if you look at your day and everything you do, you don't have time for much. So you have to plan it out. And if anything takes you away from your peace, you have to step back from that. But if you're harnessing that relationship with God, you're reading your scripture, you're reading books, you're growing, and you're exercising, that's key. I talk about wellness too. You have to do all these different things. By the time you do everything that's necessary for you to stay in pulse with God's heartbeat, or for you to stay whole, you don't have time for foolishness. For me, it's about making sure I'm doing my best each day. And if I fall short, I ask for forgiveness and I move forward with a plan of action to do better the next day. And also asking for forgiveness because it's things we do knowingly and unknowingly. Right. So it's that self-evaluation. So like I tell people, if you're getting hard on me, trust me, baby girl, I'm harder on myself. And it's probably so I seek God's face. And so I couldn't make it or be who I am without God. So I'm sorry to just go all over.
No, you know what? It sounds like we're twins. I actually have a full book that I've written, and I wrote it about 2 years ago. And I was so disappointed because I said, Kim, you know what? You have the book done. All you have to do, I have two book coaches that I had already been working under, and they're like, what is happening? And at the end of the day, I still have the book just all in this huge binder. I just need to get it to the people, get it out. And everything that you're saying, a lot of it is in my book from the perspective of just, Kim, this isn't even about you. This is about what God wants you to do, to be able to just salt this earth. Don't worry about how it's looking and how it's supposed to look. And just, it's so many factors when it comes to trying to walk, not even trying, I hate the word. Walking in your purpose and walking in the destiny that God has assigned to us. And everything you're saying, I'm so grateful that you're saying, and I can't wait for people to read your chapter. And I want to know how people can stay connected with you. We'll come back to you some more, but how can people stay connected?
So I'm on Clubhouse, Keisha Simmons. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. And then I have my landing page, All Things Consulting, where I'm selling the book as well as launching my coaching and as well as selling detox tea. I'm big about how you just think, how you receive what you eat. I'm big about your energy. It's not about pleasing your mother or your father. It's about pleasing God. So whatever God asks you to do, do it. That's it.
Wow. That's simple as that. And I know you all have comments and questions. I'm going to come and do like a flash round with everyone at some point. And then we'll have everyone on the screen just so y'all know in the studio audience what's happening. They're like, I know you saw me say something to Keisha, and you're going to sit there and act like you didn't, Kim. I'm going to do a whole flash round because I'm managing this over here by myself today. All right. So that's what's going on, just as a courtesy to you all in the virtual studio audience. All right. Listen, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, Wanda, I'm going to put you up here, get you right and ready. And I'm excited because we're going to get to hear from you next. Is that okay? All right. Unmute. Yeah, you unmute yourself during the commercial break too. All right, everybody. I'm so glad that you all have tuned in today. We're talking with these women. You know what? Let me do this because I think it's important to put the image up so y'all will know what's getting ready to come down the pike. This is how the book looks. So everybody get a visual here of the book that is, look at the cover and how it radiates. This is so beautiful and regal. Let me see. Here. Tell everybody why that particular image that you went with, Dr. Paulette, before we go to break.
Yeah, well, I think she fits the title, Her Unbreakable Spirit. This is a woman who has come into herself, and she is really showcasing her excitement about, just being alive, And so I think her when I saw the image, for me, it just fit the title. This is a woman who has just really harnessed the power to rise again.
I'm so proud of this. I'm very proud of that image. And she's not even one of the authors. It's just somebody.
No, yeah, she's just an image that I found, and I looked at it and I said, yeah, she would fit, with the storyline.
Well, this would fit with the storyline too.
Ah.
That could have been a cover, right?
Maybe my own solo book.
That's the visionary herself, Dr. Paulette Harper. All right, everybody, we're going to take a commercial break and we're going to come back and hear from Wanda Johnson. All right. All right, everyone. Actually, that coffee that have multiple sponsors, but that coffee everyone loves so much. And I've been getting calls and text messages and saying, "What that coffee is delicious with the mushroom infused." It's like 6 different mushrooms that are infused throughout that coffee. So I don't know what's going on with it, but everybody absolutely loves it. So make sure you all check out V Products. Let me put that up. vproducts.store is that particular episode sponsor. Get the coffee and enjoy the black coffee or the mushroom infused, but you'll be proud. vproducts.store, and let them know, if you do get a chance to let them know, the Kim Jacobs Show sent you. All right. So we have with us Wanda Johnson. Wanda,
thank you so much.
I'm so glad you're a first-time author. And you have co-authored this anthology, Her Unbreakable Spirit. Your voice resonates as a magnified embodiment of compassion, fiercely dedicated to the pursuit of justice. And you help others forgive themselves through prayer, grief sessions, and support groups. And I was really interested in that. But it is a certified peer specialist at the National Alliance of Mental Health in Contra Costa County. The people are in different countries, like, where that at? We don't know. Okay, it's okay. Okay. Wanda's dedication is tangible, offering a lifeline to understanding ourselves better. And she's also licensed and ordained minister of the gospel and holds the office of associate pastor. So Pastor Wanda Johnson is on today. Welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for having me today.
So glad to have you on. As in your bio, I realized that you said that one of the missions that you have is to help others learn to forgive themselves. You didn't say forgiving others. You talked about forgiving yourself. Why that spin on things specifically versus forgiving others?
Because oftentimes when we go through different things in life, whether it be divorce, whether it be a relationship breakup with friends, or whether it be separations from our children, we oftentimes look at ourselves and come up with reasons why it's our fault that what happened. Many times when women go through divorce, they blame themselves. They look at what I could have cooked better, or I could have been more supportive. I could have made myself look more beautiful. We come up with all these things of why it happened, and we blame ourselves for it, and learning to forgive ourselves and understand that it wasn't your fault, that was part of the plan to get you to where you need to be. And so forgiving ourselves first starts with us, and being able to forgive ourselves gives us the freedom and the opportunity to help others as they go through the very thing of not forgiving themselves for one situation or another.
That is so wonderfully said. Because then when when you say that, I know, because I've now been through a divorce here, and that was like something I never ever could have imagined. Married 28 years, together 34, and all of my children are by this person. I have 5 kids and been with the same person since I was 18 years old. It's like, oh my God, what is happening? And there's no sad story, because I literally had a great, wonderful life. So I can't come out and be like, this is what was behind the scenes. So I was like, what? I don't know what movie I'm in, but I had a wonderful life. And so to hear you say that, it's like you automatically go back and start thinking through, what? Where did the breakdown happen? Because you don't want to blame somebody else, because it's something on that end that made the whole situation still unfold or unravel. What I don't even know the question to ask. What advice would you give people in the situation, like even what I'm in, to be able to say, huh? I don't know. I don't know the question. What advice would you give? Help.
So for me, my story was a little bit different. So my son was killed, and with Oscar being killed, and I told him to take the rapid transit to get to his destination, because that would be the safest place. That would be the safest way for him to get there. And so when he took it and he didn't come home, and I received this phone call that he had been shot, and I got to the hospital and everything, went through a series of emotions, but after began to blame myself, because had I not told him to take Bart, I began to say, well, maybe he still would have been here. Maybe he wouldn't have been killed if I wouldn't have told him to take Bart. But now that I told him to take Bart and he's not here, it's my fault, right? So I had to process this, right? And I realized that not only did I have to process this, but many other people have to deal with feeling guilty because of something that has occurred in their life. And so because of that, I began to learn and to forgive myself first, because if you don't forgive yourself, right, you can't go forward. You can't even think about helping anyone else, because you're still drowning in your own guilt, right? And so in order for us to help others, which I've been called to do, I had to forgive myself and accept that Oscar's killing, that it was not my fault, but it was a bigger plan that I didn't even realize and didn't see. And that plan was to bring awareness to our society that these kind of things still go on. And so in that, dealing with guilt, it is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes you don't forgive yourself overnight. But I say, as you walk through the process of waking up each day, you know what? Saying to yourself, it's not my fault. Right. God, what is the plan that's behind the situation? Is this plan for me to share my story with others, to help them to heal so that they could become who you called them to be? And so just going forward and being able to not drown in the guilt, but being able to come up and breathe and share with others has truly, helped me and helped others.
So you now have totally forgiven yourself and released the fact that Oscar, it was his time to go. God has him, and you're able to move forward yourself as a result of that. When I say move forward, I don't even believe, because I'm a mother of a child that passed away. I do not believe that. I don't even want anybody to advise me just to move on. I rebuke that. I don't want to just move on. That's not how I feel at all. I'm going to move forward in life because we have to. But what do you feel about this?
So when Oscar was killed again, I was, drowning in that guilt. But then I had to my mother really helped me through this, right?
Okay.
Because I already had a foundation with God. I already believed in the Lord Jesus. But yet this guilt was still over me, right? And the enemy was definitely trying to cause depression and all the signs that we look at when we go through the grieving process, right? All of those signs were there. All of those emotions was there. And so having to deal with that, right? My mother said to me one day, who is the God you believe in? And, who is the God you even preach about, right? Now that has to come alive in you. And so as I heard her say that, and as I went back home and my comfort food was cheesecake, I would go get a cheesecake, get in my bed and take the whole box with a fork and just eat that, right? And so as I was doing that, the Lord began to minister to me, because previously he had told me that Oscar and I would be in ministry together.
Right.
And so when that didn't happen, is what I thought, it didn't happen. He reminded me to look around. And as I looked around, I seen a ton of faces that I never seen before. And he reminded me that is the ministry, to go to other mothers, to encourage them that you're going to make it through this. You're going to feel up today and maybe down tomorrow. But I want to encourage you that as you go through this process, still love on yourself, still know that your child may not be here with you, but you remember all the good times. You remember all the laughter. You remember some of the discipline times that, you dealt with your child, but you still love that child, but you still have to go on, because now you are an agent of change to help others get through the process of grief. Many people talk about they understand, but you really don't understand unless it really affects you and hits your door, And so being able to really be a personal witness, a person who really knows how the grieving process feels, really knows how you don't forgive yourself, how you are angry with yourself, really being able to share that with others, and how I overcame that through Christ Jesus, because it was only through him that I was able to come through that. It gives me the ability to help others, and just even, the story of a lady named Rizbah in the Bible.
Come on.
She dealt with the loss of her 2 kids, right? They were hung. They did nothing wrong, but because of someone else doing something, it caused her sons to be killed. And so from that, looking at that, none of us are exempt. But the thing is, when we lose a loved one, how do we handle the situation after? And so that's what God really is bringing me to, a place where we don't have to drown in that guilt, but we have to forgive ourselves. It was not your fault. It happened. It's not your fault. And now that it happened, we still have to pick up the pieces and move forward. And I don't say leave the guilt there. I don't say leave the loved one there, but I say move forward, being able to go out and impact and be an impact to somebody else, to help them get through the process of grief.
Well, thank you so much for that answer. You know how you do like this on the spoken word? Everybody, some fingers. Yeah, in the studio audience. I mean, that's like a standing ovation moment, right? Oh, thank you for that. Thank you. And yeah, thank you. Yeah, I went to church right after my son, shortly after he passed, because I still wanted God's light to shine through me no matter what, and to let people know that my faith is in the Lord and then my strength is in the Lord. So no matter what comes, no matter what goes, God is able to do everything. He could have done anything he chose, but whatever the reason, he decided that it was time to take our children to home and let that be their new resting place. You know what? And if we say we believe in that we're going to reunite with our loved ones, then we have to walk in that too at the end
Absolutely.
of the day. So I love everything that you said. How can people stay connected with you? And then we're going to go over to Zinja.
You can stay connected to me by www.oscargrantfoundation.org. You can also stay connected to me by Wanda Johnson at oscargrantfoundation.org. And also you can go to Facebook. I am on Facebook under Wanda Johnson, as well as Instagram, as well under Rev_Wanda_Johnson. You can reach me there as well.
Okay, all that stuff. Put put some of that in the private chat. But you definitely can email her, Wanda Johnson at OscarGrantFoundation.org, and also visit the website OscarGrantFoundation.org. And then you can put some more of that in the chat, and I'll pop it all over here. Listen, y'all, we are having. I personally am having just an edifying time over here, hearing from these wonderful authors, first-time authors, y'all. So in the studio audience, these are first-time authors in this anthology that Dr. Paulette Harper is the visionary behind. I'm gonna pop the image up so you guys can see it again. When it gets released here very shortly, you'll be able to get your copy. And so whenever you're watching this particular episode, because I'll be replaying it during different moments and stuff, you can go and get your book from any of these authors that are here today. Her Unbreakable Spirit, Harnessing the Power to Rise Again. That means that they are coming back up from whatever thought it tore them down, right? All right. Her Unbreakable Spirit. We're going to take a commercial break, and next we're going to hear from Zinja Zinja Stallworth. I'm gonna do all the exotic pieces. I'm just say Zinja Stallworth. All right, unmute yourself too, because you get ready to come up next here. All right, are y'all enjoying yourselves over here as the panel?
Yes, ma'am.
Hasn't this been inspiring just to hear your own sisters talk?
It has. It really has.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm so inspired over here. It's unbelievable. All right. Listen, we have a new episode sponsor, and I want to pop her up today and let you learn from there. And we'll be right back with Zinja right after this break. We'll be right back.
Why learn about health when you can experience it? Experience it in beautiful Florida in February 2024. Join us for 3 days of integrative and intensive health and healing education and empowerment with the expertise of the following Healthopedia author, speaker, and facilitators. The world-renowned homeopath and acupuncture physician, Dr. James Marinakis, 4-decade health coach and holistic nutritionist, Dr. Joe D. Bear, and others such as Kimberly Meredith, Dame Doria Cordova, Rex Sykes, Dr. Gary Sanchez, Jamie Kerr, Serena Brown-Travis, and more. Experience daily morning walking and yoga, interactive participation, panel discussions, and more for your own epiphany of health. Get your tickets now.
All right, everyone, make sure you get your tickets to this wonderful event. I'll be popping it in the comments section for you as well. And you don't want to miss that Healthopedia event. Let them know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. All right, so Zinja Stallworth, a first-time author, is poised to make a remarkable literary debut with the upcoming release of this anthology, Her Unbreakable Spirit. And she's an educator, a devoted military veteran, and she embodies her service in her diverse roles. Now, with Zinja specifically, I really want to hear about her young women's empowerment movement that she has going on, and I cannot wait for us to learn more. Welcome, Zinja, to the Kim Jacobs Show. So glad to have you. And first of all, thank you so much for your service to our country, and we really appreciate everything that you've done and still standing to share your story, because not everybody obviously has been afforded this opportunity. But in your military experience, what I learned is that you really are passionate towards high school young ladies and young women, that you empower them. What made that be your focal point?
Well, at the time that I joined the military, I joined right after high school.
Okay.
And I kind of feel like I was thrust into it. I became a teenage mother. And so I had to take care of my child, and I had to find the best way I could to do it. And so while that was not my plan, that's just what I did. And throughout my military troubles or time, I guess the biggest thing I didn't get before I left home, I wasn't ready for all the relationships that I would need to build.
Okay.
So I didn't have those skills as I, met new people. I was struggling with my relationship with just being a teen mom, and then trying to figure out, still who I am.
So when you in the military, being a teen mom, how does that even work?
Well, my mom took care of my son until I was able to get him back.
And is that in your chapter?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? You giving us insight?
That'll be in the book. That'll be in the book.
That's gonna be in your memoir type of thing.
Yes.
All right. So you were a teen mom, but then your mom believed in you enough to say, hey, I want you to go, still live your life, and I got this. I got your baby.
Yes.
Wow. Now what would make a mom do something like that? Because you would know, because she did it for you. What in those situations?
It's just that unconditional love.
And how did that work with you traveling and being in the military and knowing you have your baby you have to get back to, and your mom is helping? How did those dynamics work?
I only had to be away from him for 2 years.
Girl, that's a big deal to me. When you're saying it, you're saying like I only had to. I'm like, for mom,
I still got to see him on a regular basis. Some people it's a lot longer than that, so I was able to get him back. Which I don't want to give away too much of the book, but it's the start of my relationship building.
Okay, that's plenty. Well, tell us at least your chapter and what people can expect to glean from your chapter that you're allowed to share with us.
Okay, so my chapter is Finding My Way, a journey of healing and self-discovery. It's really the story of a young woman's journey to healing from childhood traumas, her self-discovery through a series of relational challenges, starting with being a teenage mom. And I have an excerpt. If I can just read an excerpt from my chapter.
I want you to read an excerpt from your chapter. Please, go ahead.
So, his broken promises and emotional distance left me with unresolved wounds. As I navigated adulthood, I desperately yearned for love and acceptance. This inner longing eventually led to a journey filled with immense challenges and hardships, including a series of failed relationships and multiple marriages.
Girl. So now you have your child that you have to consider. You've been in the military, so you know what to do and what not to do, because it's just like that in the military. It's like, look, I'm a military vet. I know what I will tolerate and what I won't tolerate, and I'm not about to go down like this. So if a relationship's not working, you move on about your business, right?
That's it.
Okay, so I done solved it. So at the end of the day, how did it? Well, we can't talk about how it ended for you, because then that's telling the whole chapter. What do you want readers to walk away learning from your chapter?
That you can hear from childhood trauma. I grew up without my father and without a physical or emotional connection. So what a lot of people don't think about is, as a woman, your first male relationship is with your father.
That's right.
And so, you expect for them to love you unconditionally, and they teach you, how worthy you are of love. So when you don't get that, when you then have to go out and create your own relationships with men, it can look a little different. And so that was a big struggle for me, was learning to love myself and also be able to build healthy relationships.
That's really good. Now, what red flags do you recommend people look for? Because you've been through multiple relationships. So are there any red flags that kind of stand out that you say, if I could tell y'all one or two things, look for this and look for that, if that's going down, run in the opposite direction.
My number one for me right now is change.
Wait, before you say it, somebody type in the studio audience. You see both my hands up here. I can't type and listen. I'm getting ready to go in like this. So I need somebody in the studio audience or one of y'all here on the panel to type what she getting ready to say, because I want y'all to hear these 2 points that she's making. Go.
So if a relationship requires you to change who you are, then you need to change the relationship.
Oh, see, that's right there. I needed these 2 hands free. If it changes who you are, who God created you to be, you need to change that relationship. Come on.
Yes.
What other?
So that's my number one.
Oh, I wanted a bunch of them. Okay, good. I get it. You like, girl, take one and go on and read the book.
That's going to be in my memoirs and then the extended book, the next book.
Okay. So y'all, if the relationship changes who you are, then you need to change the relationship. That right there, drop a mic moment right there anyway. All right. Any other points you wanted to make while you have the floor?
I liked where Wanda talked about the self-forgiveness. And so that was also a big part of my journey. A lot of times you may think like my father not being there, if this man who's supposed to love me unconditionally could then and couldn't, how do I expect another man to love me unconditionally? And then so sometimes you feel like you're worthy of the bad treatment.
And no, I never thought, I just didn't think of it that way. I never thought of it that way. So I'm really grateful to hear you put it in that perspective. For any young girl growing up without her father, you're always trying to say, hey, I know for me, I've always been like, hey, I'm a good girl. I'm the president of this. I'm the president of that. You have a great daughter. I'm in the debutante. I'm a pageant. And I'm doing everything. And at the end of the day, you're seeking the love of your father.
Yes.
And then, so, oh my goodness, I can't wait for people to read your chapter. Now, how can people stay connected with you, Zinja?
They can hit me on Facebook. I am Zinja Key Stallworth on Facebook, and then Instagram, She's Sophisticated.
She's Sophisticated. Okay. I'm gonna put over here. I'm gonna pop that up for everybody. Y'all, you have to stay connected with, or you said on what was it? She's Sophisticated? Because it's not
Sophisticated. That's Instagram.
Oh, She's Sophisticated. How do you spell that?
So it's without the D. So like sophisticated without the D.
Okay, IG. I'm gonna pop She's Sophisticated without the D. You doing the most over there, Zinja. You got me over here working. Let me see. She's Sophisticated. Okay, did I do it right?
Yes.
You okay? You're a force to be reckoned with over there, Zinja. So you're gonna stay connected with Zinja right on her Facebook, Zinja Key Stallworth, or on IG, She's Sophisticated. Go make sure y'all support her and follow her. Listen, I want to make sure I get a closing comment from each of you as well, and then pop a couple of these comments up in the studio audience. So everybody, unmute yourself and say one thing. Let me start with you, Zinja. Let me start with you. A closing comment.
She gave herself the love she needed, unconditional.
Keisha. Wanda, while she's unmuting herself, let's go to you, Wanda.
No matter what occurred, forgive yourself and pick up the pieces and move forward and be the person you have been created to be.
Wow. Keisha, unmute yourself. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can unmute you. Yeah, I can't unmute you. You have to unmute yourself. Okay, come back in the studio right quick. Go out and come back in. And Dr. Paulette, give us a closing comment.
Look for the book to drop on Tuesday, December the 12th.
All right. So if you're watching this during any other time outside of Tuesday, December 12th, make sure you go and get your copy. I mean, it already dropped. Or if you're watching it before December 12th, when it comes out, be ready to get it, okay? And I see all of the comments that's coming in. I just want to rattle through a few of them real quick before we disconnect from today's episode. You all, thank you for being such an active audience members. Chapter is going to be amazing, Erica said. Lots of hand claps and lots of tagging of friends. I see you, Pastor Aquanetta Davis. She has a book called Reset, and she shares her harrowing story of some things that she dealt with very candidly in a transparent manner. So y'all connect with Pastor Aquanetta Davis. Her story is riveting, and you want to definitely connect with her. My mom said good morning to you all, ladies. Y'all are amazing. See his face, Erica said, and not his hand. Yes. And I saw lots of comments in any of these platforms, because we stream on different platforms. Make sure you all, especially on the Facebook and different things, go back and respond to some of these comments that you see. Erica, come on here, Keisha. Come on here, Keisha. Erica said, congrats, Keisha. Congrats to you. I put you back in, Keisha. Tell me if you can say a closing comment, Keisha, right quick.
You were meant to be here. All you endured and survived. I didn't share that I was almost abducted. So just know everybody has a purpose. You were meant to be here.
Oh,
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You were almost abducted?
Yeah, that's a part of my book. When I was a little girl walking home from school, I was almost abducted. And it just forever changed my life. That's one of the big things that happened in my life. But my closing comment is you were meant to be here. All you endured and survived.
Oh my goodness. And you made it. You made it to get here to tell this story today, and you're changing lives. Someone said the amazing Dr. Paulette.
Yes.
And congratulations, Christina, who was on one of the previous episodes with you all in the same book. Make sure you also know Christina is one of the contributing authors, and you can get a book from her too. So feel free to connect with that powerful woman. And she says, congratulations. Congrats, ladies. Glad to see you all here. Blessings to you all. Good morning, beautiful women. I see all kinds of comments flowing in, and we thank you all for tuning into today's episode. I see you. Good morning. I see all of the love that's coming in. I definitely have done everything I can to share a lot of these comments. Listen, make sure you tune in again to the Kim Jacobs Show every Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Many people want to know how you can support the show. The way to do this is we're only thriving to bring balance to the world, one household at a time, through community contributions from you all. So please take a moment and know that your support does make a difference, and it does not matter. Yesterday, we had someone send $20. We have someone send $100. Whatever people send, we are grateful because we're able to keep this broadcast going. You can Cash App to $ Kim Jacobs Inc. You can also use PayPal, which is paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. Or you can go to Venmo at The Kim Jacobs Show. And you can become a Patreon member at patreon.com/The Kim Jacobs Show. Thank you all for tuning in today. And thank you all for being wonderful guests here on the show. Y'all are amazing. How can people get the book one more time?
Well, we are still in pre-sale mode, so any one of the authors can provide you an autographed copy of the book. And then on December the 16th, we are going to have our Amazon bestseller campaign. The ebook will drop. You will have an opportunity to grab the ebook and help push us to bestseller.
And y'all do not miss this opportunity. Her Unbreakable Spirit, harnessing the power to rise again. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Thank you all for being amazing women with just unbreakable spirits. And what a wonderful time. All right, everybody. Have a great one, you all.
Bye,
Have a great one, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show
y'all.
and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday.